So a couple of weeks ago, there was a big deal in the automotive industry where Ford kind of had this like cryptic event that they were announcing something, and they sent out these poker chips actually to 150 people throughout the whole country, maybe the whole world, I don't know. From what I gathered later, about 35 of those were Ford GT alumni type of people, but they didn't really say what it was. They just said, hey, there's an event in Las Vegas, you're invited, here's your poker chip. It has something to do with a Mustang because there's a little Mustang logo on it, but that's really all anyone knew. Any of the people that went to that event, they had no idea who else was going, they had no idea what the event was about, what was happening, nothing. They all just showed up and then magically said, oh man, you're the 150 people that are here today. That's cool. It's crazy. I mean, anyone from the executive team for Ford were there. Some YouTubers like Shmi and Stradman and Manny Koshpin were there, and Drag Times, and then there was a lot of just normal folk. I mean, turns out a lot of the people that own Ford GTs are just normal people. They're not celebrities and influencers like a lot of people think. And so there's a whole lot of people there at this event. And then, sure enough, they told everyone you can't say anything until Thursday, and on Thursday everything comes out. But from Tuesday to Thursday, there's a massive dash all over the internet about there being some mid-engine Mustang coming out. And at first I completely dismissed it, and I saw people saying that wasn't true, people that were at the event. But then I started hearing a couple of other things that kind of made me believe maybe it was going to be true, or maybe there were two different cars they were releasing. One was this high-end Mustang, and then this GTD race version Mustang, and then maybe something else was going to be over the horizon too. I don't know if it'd be a GT or something else, but something that is a mid-engine car. Turns out they did not do that, but they did release this GTD, and this GTD is absolutely amazing. And knowing my history with Ford and my family's history with Ford and the cars that we have, we got to talk about this. Now, we have to talk about this Mustang GTD. I absolutely love this car. I've been a Mustang guy for a long time. Of course, I'm a Corvette guy and have been for a long time as well. Probably the first car I ever really wanted was a C4 Corvette, but the first car I ever actually had was a 2001 Mustang. So I've been a Mustang guy, been a Corvette guy. Probably more of a Corvette guy than a Mustang guy, but I'm more of a Ford guy than a Chevy guy. Does that make sense? So that's kind of how I think. I think if I didn't have the Corvette and the Corvette wasn't as great as it is, probably the car I would probably want is a Shelby GT500 or a GT350, something like that. So if I feel like I'm really just as in my DNA for a Corvette as I am for Ford. Of course, my family has a relatively good history with Ford, but this Corvette Z06, this is my car that I earned, that I paid for and everything like that. And I was kind of on the trajectory of going up the Corvette ladder to eventually get a ZR1 and maybe a Zora, whatever those cars are going to be, we don't really know yet. But this kind of throws a wrinkle in everything. It's $300,000. So this car was $130,000. The ZR1 might be $150 to $180, something like that. This is $300,000. So the question is this car worth it? Is the Ford GTD, the Mustang GTD, really worth $300,000? And I think a lot of people on the surface think, well, it's a Mustang. What's different about it than the Mustang GT? Everything. Think of it this way. What if they built the exact same car, same specs, same suspension, same engine, same drivetrain, same everything, but instead of putting a Mustang body on it, they put something else, something a little more exotic looking? Would that be worth $300,000? Absolutely it would be. Absolutely, 100%. Looking at the hardware and then the engineering that went into that car that's going into that new Mustang GT, absolutely it's worth $300,000. The only reason why people are kind of not sure about it is because it's a Mustang. So the question is, there's two. Should I apply for it? And B, will I actually have a chance to get it? I mean, as my family, myself, as kind of, they were the ambassadors of the new Ford GT and the continuing ambassadors of the old Ford GT. I would like to think so. Now, I didn't get invited to this event, and that's okay. I mean, I'm probably not in the top 35 ambassadors of the Ford GT. Some of these guys go to every event, they go overseas, they go to every race, they do everything, and that's great. They should absolutely deserve to be that top 35 or whatever. Would I be in the top 150, top 200, top 300? Maybe so. And so I feel like maybe I have a pretty good opportunity to put in an inquiry to apply for this car and actually get this car, both as an ambassador of Ford and the Ford GTs, and also someone who is obviously drives and actually shares the life of some of these supercars, like I do with this Z06 a lot, and I would with the ZR1 and Zora and whatever other Corvette I might get, or Mustang, or any other car that I may get. So we don't really know yet what it's going to take to actually get one of these allocations if you do apply. But here's kind of what I'm guessing based on what I saw with the Ford GT and some of the other things that I've seen online already. Is it's going to be a similar application process to the Ford GT. I don't know if they're going to have you make a video again or anything like that. But some of the factors they're going to take into is, what's your history with Ford? Do you have a history of buying a lot of Shelbys, a lot of high-end Mustangs? You have a long history of older cars. Maybe you have an old GT or one of the new GTs or something like that. And ideally, it seems like they're putting a lot of emphasis on people that are still original owners of the old and the new Ford GTs, which, of course, my family, we are. So I think that carries a lot of weight. They put a little bit of weight into if you're ambassador. Now I'm going to say that instead of influencer, because people like me and a lot of other people out there, we're not really influencing, we're ambassadors of the car. And we're influencing by being ambassadors, but we're not out there trying to sell product. We're out there trying to share the experience of something. So it's really more of an ambassadorship. And I really take my ambassadorship of the Ford GT pretty strongly. Like I even though I probably make more content, especially on YouTube with Corvette than the Fords, I still think, I have a lot of responsibility to uphold what I agreed to as far as being an ambassador of that car, which is part of the reason why I even made this channel as well. I made the channel, made the Instagram account, did all of this partially just because we were given the opportunity to get this new Ford GT back in 2019, and I wanted to fulfill what we said we would do as far as being ambassadors. So that was my goal here. I don't know if being a famous YouTuber, though, is really going to carry a lot of weight. A lot of famous YouTubers got denied last time with the Ford GT. I think a lot of famous YouTubers will apply and get denied this time as well, because they are in the business of flipping cars and making content. They're not in the business of being ambassadors to the brand, which that's really what Ford wants. So we'll see. I mean, Shmi's great. Manny Koshbin's great. Brooks and Dradtime is great, even though he did sell his GT after only about 2.5 years. Stradman, I was a little surprised he got it. I have nothing against Stradman. I think he's fantastic. But then again, he doesn't really have a whole lot of history with Ford at all. He had a 06 Ford GT, I think, that he owned for like 2 months, and then he sold it. And that's it, right? So a little surprised he got a chip there, but it is what it is, right? I'm not going to... nothing against Stradman there. And then they're going to see, are you a high-end collector that's going to be actually able to show the car? Are you going to actually drive the car frequently? If it replaces that, I'm going to drive it every mile I get, because I drive that everywhere I go. I don't drive my SUV hardly ever. I drive that. So it's going to get driven. Is it going to get shown at car shows and events? And I go to Cars and Coffee in this. I go to car shows in this. I do everything in this. So people are going to see the car and be an ambassador. I'm going to continue to be an ambassador of that brand of Ford and the Ford GTD if I got that car. So I would like to believe, of all the people out there with the history my family has with Ford, the history I have with Ford, my original Mustang, my wife drives an Explorer, my mom has a Ford F-150, my brother has a Ford. We have a lot of Fords, right? So I drove an F-150 for like 10 years before I traded in for my SUV. So we have a long history in our family of Fords. We love the brand, and really this car is just kind of an anomaly of the whole thing with the Corvette and it being a Chevy. So I'd like to think we really have a good chance. So to me, I put in my inquiry with Ford to have them reach out and give me instructions on applying. I plan on applying. This is not my application video, of course. This is me explaining how I think the application process is going to go and my chances of getting one. And the fact that I am going to apply to get one of these Ford Mustang GTDs. And then if I do, and it's $300,000, which, by the way, $300,000 is the base price. The car that they showed there in Las Vegas and Monterey, it has optional wheels, optional exhaust, and a few other options as well. That car probably cost $400,000. So, and then you have paint to sample and other things that can come in, and who knows? I could see very many of these GTDs being sold at a sticker of $450,000 to $500,000 pretty easily. So what does that mean? If I get one of these and I have to spend at least $300,000 to $350,000 on one of these cars, what does that mean? That means the Corvette Dream, the C8 Z06, ZR1, Zora ladder that I'm climbing is probably gone. I can't afford to have both. I don't have room for both. Let's be honest, I can't really juggle both at the same time as far as being, an ambassador and a content creator. So that means that if I get selected for this car, I'm probably going to sell whatever Corvette I have, go all in on the Mustang GTD, and just have a hell of a good time with that car. And then the good news is, almost the good news, right, is there going to be so few of them, maybe between 1,000 and 2,000. I don't know the exact number. I think they're going to make at least 1,000, but probably less than 2,000. I think somewhere in there. Who knows how much? They're going to be pretty rare. So resale value is going to stick around. They're probably going to have you required to keep it for a year, maybe 2 years, just like they did with the Ford GT. So if I get that car, that will be the car for a while. No more switching Corvettes every 6, 7, 8, 9 months like I have been. That will be the car for at least that period of time, but probably long after as well. So, man, Mustang Gtd. Hey, by the way, you probably have been seeing my shirt here. I've never actually worn one of my merch items before on a video, and I figured I would finally. I love this shirt, Make Manual Transmissions again. Of course, you know, now that it's nearing political season again, I figured it'd be fun to wear this shirt. You should be able to order one down below the screen somewhere down there if you wanted to through Teespring. But anyway, guys, give me your comments. What do you think? Am I crazy? Do I have a chance to get one of these cars? Am I crazy for wanting to give up the Z06 or Zora or the Corvette dream car? Look at it this way. The Zora, ZR1, whatever highest level of the C8 Corvette they're going to make, it's going to be direct competition to the GTD. Make no mistake, Chevy's watching what Ford's doing, and now they know they have to up the game. So don't be surprised if they come out with a Zora now that is $300,000, that is really a GT3 car for the streets. I could absolutely see Chevy doing that to compete with what Ford has done here. And then if they do, well, then what? What if they go through a kind of a similar thing where they're selective, they only make 1,000 of them, you have to apply, whatever. They do the same thing with the Zora that Ford's doing with the GTD. Then what? What do I do? What would you do? I don't know. Comment below. Man, what a time to have a decision to make, right? Like, this is the first world problems. But at the same time, it's a lot of money, and a lot of money I don't just have laying around freely and just willy-nilly. I can buy thousands of cars, so it's an important decision too. But anyway, let me know your thoughts. Until next time, guys.